countdown go already?
Up my peeps. So, alrighty. What is up, people? I am back, and this time I will be playing Mario Kart 64. So I'm going to be playing through all 4 of these cups here, all 16 tracks, and I'll be using all the various glitches and shortcuts and whatnot to be beating these tracks faster than you're intended. So I guess we're ready for a countdown, so go ahead and get started in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. So right off the bat, I'm going to be attempting a pretty difficult strat here. Let's see if I get this. Alright, I got it. Nice. So when you, I used the start boost there to boost into DK, and since I'm Yoshi and I'm a lightweight and DK is a heavyweight, I was able to kind of bounce off of him and do a jump over that wall, and that top of that wall doesn't have collision in the English version, so I was able to just fall into the tunnel below, which saves around 12 to 13 seconds, and it's a pretty nice time saver to do right at the start of the run. So what I'm going to try to do here is get the item box from this balloon. I missed it, dang it. There's always a blue shell in that item box, so if I had gotten that, I would have been able to use it for a skip at the start of the 3rd lap, but whatever. So I should probably talk about the main driving technique that I'm using throughout this run. What I'm doing here as I'm drifting is what's called a mini turbo. You see the smoke on my kart kind of changing from white to yellow to orange. That is done by oscillating the control stick back and forth at various intervals, and that kind of builds up the charge and allows you to have a small boost of speed once you release it, and it's kind of the key technique to going fast in this game, and it's really hard to optimize due to frame dependency. So if in case you were wondering, what I would have done with that blue shell is something very similar to what I did at the start of lap 1, where I would have fired it right after crossing the finish line, and it would have hit me since I'm in 1st place, and I would have fallen over the wall into that tunnel below. It would have been another nice time saver, but unfortunately I missed the item box. So I got to show off the cooler of the 2 skips though, so I think we're alright. Alright. That's 1 track down, 15 to go. So during these point screens, what I'm going to be doing to speed these up is I'm going to be holding start and tapping A, and that just kind of speeds up. That just kind of speeds them up quicker. It's kind of something you don't notice them do. You hear it explained. All right, movement forward doesn't have any shortcuts or skips. So I'm going to be using this course to kind of talk about the key mechanics of the game. All right, some of the key features of the run. First of all, you might notice that I'm playing as Yoshi. Yoshi, Toad, and Peach are all the fastest characters. They're all the lightweights, and they all tie for the same top speed. The only main differences between them is that, first of all, Yoshi and Peach are slightly heavier than Toad, which only really matters when interacting with other characters. And also, Yoshi is the quickest to select off the kart menu. So that's why the character bid war for this was specifically between those 3 characters, because the run is almost the same as all 3 characters, but also with Peach I can't do that DK jump I did at the start of Luigi Race. Yeah, I'm just kind of have to avoid these RNG holes here, because they can just pop up at any given time and ruin your run, but then again, just try to stay away from them, except for scenarios like that. Another thing I should talk about is the CPUs. They do rubber band in this game, but they do so in a really terrible way. When a CPU is off camera, physics basically stop applying to them. They will constantly be in this draft boost state, and also while off screen they can drive through walls. In addition, they just generally rubber band, which means that when I get farther ahead of them, they'll start speeding up. And since I'm going to be taking a lot of shortcuts, they might be speeding up a little bit, and they might be very close to me on some of the non-skips tracks. So just for that one, Toad was pretty close to me throughout that entire 3rd lap there, but I also made a couple mistakes. And as for item usage from the CPUs, it's actually very generous in this game. They cannot throw shells of any kind. They can't even get blue shells or red shells, and they can pick up green shells, but they will never use them. And as for lightnings, hold on. As for lightnings, the 8th place CPU has a 1% chance of getting a lightning, so it can happen, but it's pretty rare. Alright. So this is Koopa Troopa Beach. We have no skips on this track either, but there is a shortcut that I'll be doing here, this tunnel jump, which was obviously intended for you to do. This is allowed in a no skips run because it's built into the track. And also I'm going to be doing a glitch here that's also not classified as a skip. I can do this. Right. I got triple red shells. You can't normally get that in first place. But what I did there is what's called the finish line glitch. Basically, there's some mismapped polygons to the right of the finish line that, for whatever reason, will say you're back a lap. And for a few frames, it thought I was in 8th place. And so if you can activate an item on those polygons, you can get an 8th place item. And optimally, you want to aim for a speed item, such as a star or a golden mushroom. Because that's really what you want to do. This glitch exists in several other courses as well. Wow, I got triple red shells both times. That's kind of sad. But yeah, you can't normally get triple reds in first place. They actually had 20% chance in every place except first. See if I can make this 3 for 3. Nice. That tunnel jump could be rather finicky if you're starting out. Another thing about the lightweight CPUs in particular that makes them useful for speedruns, and also Bowser has this trait as well, is when you're at a complete stop, if you triple tap the A button, so if you tap it 3 times in a row in quick succession, then you'll accelerate a lot quicker, and you'll be seeing me use this a lot throughout the run if I ever end up at a stop. Alright, Calamari Deserts is going to be the first major instance of RNG in the run. I'm going to get an item and then sandbag. I'm basically going to be sandbagging for items in this track. So what I'm going to do is grab an item box and head back into 8th place. And there are a bunch of item combinations I want here, but the primary one that I want is a star. And I got it. Nice. I'm actually going to hold on to this until lap 2, because otherwise this train will be in my way. So what this will allow me to do is kind of a broken way of an intended shortcut. So this is actually programmed into the game. I'm just going to be doing it in an unintended way. So what the devs intended for you to do is go through the train tracks to my left, and once you cross the finish line, activate the star, and it will move you forward a lap. What I'm going to be doing instead, however, is I'm actually going to be entering through the tunnel the other direction. And then I'm going to basically go back over the finish line and use the star to skip a lap. So I'm just going to go through the tunnel this direction. I'm going to wait for the keeper to show up, which should be right around here. Turn around, activate the star, and bam, I'm on the final lap. Again, that was technically programmed into the game. I just didn't do it in the proper way. If I had gotten, say, a red shell there, I would have also been able to use that to kind of do an extra cool little skip, but a star is definitely a good scenario. Managed to snipe Bowser with those. And after the final race of every track, of every cup, I reset the console just to get me to the next cup quicker, so you can skip the trophy ceremony. That was a pretty decent mushroom cup, aside from the missing the blue shell skip on Luigi Raceway. Toad's Turnpike has probably the hardest shortcut in the game for me. Or one of the hardest. So let's see if I can get this. That was not a mistake, that was intentional. Alright, I did it first try, nice. That might have looked a little weird to anybody watching. So basically what happened there is, when D2 is on the screen after picking you up, he actually can't pick you up again. So basically what I did there is beat him to the out of bounds section, and that allowed me to kind of have some free roam for a little bit, and that allowed me to jump from the higher level to the lower level. Now I also did that first jump in a very particular way, so I'm going to try and see if this works. Alright, it did work. Nice. So what I actually did on the first lap, I had to do that jump in a very specific way. If you look on the mini-map in the lower right-hand corner, you can kind of see where the track crisscrosses. What I did there was, you want to kind of be above the road when you do that first jump. You don't have to land on the road, but you have to be well above it. Like, you have to be kind of directly above it. And if you do that, then it basically breaks the checkpoint system in this level for no good reason. To where if I just drive past the finish line a little way and then jump out of bounds like that, it just warps me halfway across the track. You're not supposed to be taking that far ahead of the track when you go out of bounds there. Weirdly enough, that glitch was actually patched on the original version of the game. So they tried to fix something for the later versions of the game. It's not exactly clear what. That added that wrong warp. That wrong warp doesn't exist on the Japanese 1.0 release of the game. That was a really solid turn bike. That, oh, until that happened. That first jump can be really, really difficult because you don't really have a visual or audio cue, so you basically just have to YOLO it and hope for the best. So I'm really happy that I got it first try, and that the wrong warp worked. Alright, now it's time for Frappe Snowland, which has a shortcut that you can try at home, ladies and gentlemen. This is probably the easiest track in the entire run. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around at the start, head over to the bridge here, and I'm going to turn back around and jump from the bridge to the snow without touching the road, and then cross the finish line and go out of bounds. Now watch what happens to the lower left-hand corner. I jumped from 8th to 1st because I just skipped an entire lap. Basically what I'm doing is when you cross the finish line the intended way, your lap counter increments, and when you go back across it, your lap decrements. What I'm doing is I'm tricking the game into putting me back behind the finish line without ever decrementing my lap. And it just goes lap by lap by lap, and I can finish all 3 laps faster than a no-skips runner could finish 1. So this is easily the most broken course in the game. And if you play it safe, it's definitely one of the easiest tracks to learn. This next track, on the other hand, is actually kind of difficult. Choco Mountain is the first track where I'm going to be going for wall jumps. So depending on the speed and angle you have when approaching a wall, a certain type of wall, you have a 1-frame window to jump off the wall, and I'm going to be going for that in a couple different places on this track, such as first this little hill over here. I didn't get it. So what happened there is what's known as a 0-frame jump, where my speed was so high, I actually didn't have a frame to jump. And so I just tumbled right away. So the jump was literally impossible in that situation. I'm going to be going for that on all 3 laps. And what you saw me do with the gray wall there, that's just the backup jump, which is a little bit easier, and you have... Yeah, you get 0 frames most often, I think. So hopefully I get this on at least one of the laps, because it does look pretty cool. There we go. So as you can see, you just kind of jump over that entire area. And it is frame perfect, so even if you don't get 0 frames, it's still really difficult. And you have to hit a very specific point on the wall, too. Oh wow, I got a 2 out of 3, nice. That's actually kind of a rarity for me. That's pretty decent. Alright, up next is Mario Raceway, and more than likely this track is going to be no skips. But if I happen to get a mushroom or some sort of a speed item, I might attempt the shortcut once. But this track is so short that it honestly doesn't matter anyways. So what I might try to do here if I get a mushroom is, you see that little wall there that's kind of in a T-shape? Well, we might not know it's a T-shape because I didn't really drive past it much. You can actually kind of hop over it if you have a speed item. It is rather difficult, and I am really bad at it, and I get it like once in a blue moon, so I also relies on me getting a mushroom at all, because I'm not going to sandbag for it. I'm hearing a mushroom is only a 10% chance in first place. It is not actually the lowest probability item you can get in first place. That's a boo, red shell, and banana bunch, which are all 5% chance. Getting a mushroom actually happens more often than you think. I just don't think I've gotten them this run. Alright, I'm gonna try the shortcut. Well, let's see if I can get this. This is a pretty difficult jump, and it's basically a YOLO. Yeah. You kind of saw what I was trying to do there. It's okay, it doesn't matter too much. The CPUs are rather slow once you're far behind them. Gotta make sure I don't fall too far behind, because if I finish the race in 5th place or worse, I actually have to redo the entire race. With that cup now. That was actually a really decent flower cup. Right, time for Wario Stadium. This track can either be a really long course or a really short track. It depends on how nice the game wants to be to me right now. So there's a really well-known shortcut here where you can kind of jump over this first wall. What's less known is that you can actually jump right back over, like that. That's another one of those jumps that's frame perfect and then sometimes just literally impossible. I might get 0 framed over and over again here, like that. Oh. Don't know what happened there, but I actually jumped behind the finish line there, so I wouldn't have been able to, my lap didn't count. Alright, we might be here a while. Because this tends to be what happened in run. You just get here and run into this wall endlessly and never get over. Come on, dude. There we go. That was weird. As you can see, yeah, 2 8-second laps and 1 34-second lap. That's kind of what you kind of couldn't have expected much better, I guess. You can finish that track in under 30 seconds, just for reference. Right, time for our first no-skips track in a while. So Sherbert Land does not have any shortcuts or skips of any kind. At least for humans. With tool assistance, you can do a bunch of different shortcuts on this track, but they involve jumping off of other computer players, which is just not feasible for a human to do, since you can't really see where they are and predict where they're going to be in real time. And also relies on, you have to jump off specific kinds of players, such as the heavyweights. These penguins in the cave are on cycle, so provided that I stay on, so provided that I don't make too many mistakes, I'll know where they are pretty much every time. I also have to make sure I don't fall into the water here, because if you do, you turn into a frozen ice cube, and it takes a couple extra seconds to break out of it. The item placement can sometimes be annoying, especially if it's with your own item. Use that green shell to take out that banana. Dang it. If you run into a penguin head-on, you just spin out like that, and then waste like 3 seconds. It's always fun to wreck other CPUs with other items. These corner jumps are a little bit risky. And stuff like that also doesn't qualify as a skip. So like cutting corners or cutting across the grass, that's just driving good, I guess. My split there. Not too bad. I lost 4 seconds on lap 2 because I usually get a 33 if the lap was decent. Overall, decent Sherbert Land. Now it's time for Royal Raceway. This track is also kind of broken. So there's really one main shortcut you do in this track, but it saves like 15 seconds at best. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop across the river here, like that. You want to hit just to the right of this, if you could kind of tell it's a bit of a polygon line, and you want to hit just to the right of it. Basically it makes like it makes the game think you attempted to jump from that ramp and missed somehow. I don't exactly know how it works. It just kind of places you up on the ramp, and I'm going to be going for that on all 3 laps. There is another shortcut you can do on this track that I don't ever do, because it is really hard and it doesn't really save any time. Oh. I tried to cut that a little too close. Alright, I'm just going to set this up now because I messed up getting around that hill. So right there is the use of the triple tap A. Yeah, basically on this ramp up here, you can actually kind of veer off to the left and kind of try to hop across the river, and if you hit a specific point on the wall, then like each will place you right next to the last corner. But it's incredibly difficult, and if you miss it, you lose 10 seconds, and it saves less than 1 second. So it's really not worth it, unless you're at a top level. this one more time. This is another track with the finish line glitch, but in order to do it, I actually need a boo. Because no items roulette far enough in order to get you to the finish line. And when you use a boo in Grand Prix mode, it acts exactly like a normal item box. You're not stealing items from other CPU players. You have the same probabilities of getting the same items, although you also have a 20% chance of getting nothing. And a little bit of slop on that second lap there, but overall that's a Royal Raceway I will accept. Right now it's time for Bowser's Castle. So this is also a no-skips course. At least, again, for RTA. This is RTA no-skips with tasks you can jump on off computer players and do stuff like that. These thwomps are on cycles, and the thwomps in this room, you see those three that kind of block you off? That's the three that block you off there is exclusive to 150cc. And depending on how fast or go, I'm either going to have to go to the left or right of those swamps in order to avoid getting crushed by them or avoid getting blocked off. Because if you collide with a swamp's head on, you will also spin out. Or if I want to play ballsy, I'll have to go to the middle. I believe if I play this track optimally, I'll have to go to the right all 3 times. But there is also no chance of that me playing this track optimally. I'm holding a banana behind me like this. Doing this on N64 will actually reduce lag, because I guess it kind of draws less polygons or whatever. Or it uses lower resolution when it's zoomed out like this. It's not really that big of a benefit on this track, but there are a couple spots where it's useful. I'm going to hold on to this mushroom until the start of lap 3, so I can use it to do another corner cut. Like that. Alright. I was a little too early there. I wasn't entirely sure which way I had to go. Let's not get booted into the lava by Peach. Thank you. 9 out of 10 times there's going to be a banana on that bridge, and that's the thinnest platform in the game that doesn't have sides, so it's very easy to fall off and fall right into the lava. And if you do it on lap 3, that's a pretty big Monka S. And that's it for the Star Cup. So that's the final reset of the game. We're going to be heading on to Special Cup, the final cup of the game. And we're going to start with DK's Jungle Parkway, which right off the bat has a pretty big lap skip that I'm going to be going for. It's very similar to the one you saw in Frappe Snowland, except it's a lot harder to do. I'm going to turn around here. I'm going to head to a specific point in the back of this cave. I'm going to try to line this up here. And this corner here just doesn't exist, so I'm just going to drive through it and drive into this out-of-bounds area. You can land back in the cave when doing that, but doing this is also fine because it still skips a lap. Got the long place down there. This is also the laggiest course in the game, so if okay, I'm actually going to hold on to this banana until I finish the race so that I can hold it during the fourth results screen. Alright, so that's the optimal way of doing that lap skip. Just got to do that one more time and I can finish the race. Alright, we're good. Now I'm going to hold this banana behind me during the fourth. Okay, Peach doesn't steal it from me. Alright, not too bad. I made it on all 3 laps, but I had to fall outside the cave for 2 of them. Alrighty. The next course, Yoshi Valley, can go a variety of ways depending on the RNG I'm going to get at the start, because I still go for triple mushrooms like an idiot. So if I get triple mushrooms, I can do a lap skip 3 times, but if I don't, there's an alternate strat that I can use that's just a little bit slower. So I'm going to grab some item boxes and wait to be in around 5th or 6th place because I have the best shot at getting triple mushrooms in there, in that range. I got a lightning. Alright, I got star, which I can use on lap 3. So I'm going to do the alternate strat instead. I'm going to take this far right path. This is actually the slowest path in the entire stage. But for whatever reason, if you take it, it breaks the checkpoint system and makes it so that if I just jump off right here and then cross over the finish line, it just skips a lap. That only works if you take the far right path. And it just kind of places me over here. And I can do this hairpin jump, which is also not classified as a skip. Hopefully not get crushed by this giant egg. Now I'm going to use this star to attempt the lap skip that I would have attempted on all 3 laps if I had gotten the triple mushrooms. I'm going to head over here. I'm going to jump over to the left here. I'm going to use the star to hop over the fence. And then I'm going to hit that black line and get that bounce left. And assuming this is done properly, which I'm sure it was, that skips the entire lap. Alright, I'm a little skeptical about this CPU RNG that I've got here. So I've got DK in the top 4, which could potentially be a good thing. Because what I want here is I want to have one of the heavyweights, so either DK, Bowser, or Wario, finish in first place. And then I need to finish in 3rd, because if I do that, then that will set me up to do something pretty cool at the start of Rainbow Road. But I need the CPUs to behave. And that's... with what the CPU's placements are at right now, that doesn't look like it's going to be likely. This is also a no-skip track, by the way. Well, again, RTA no-skips. Okay, I'm going to try to get Toad out of the way here so I can get Bowser in 2nd. Alright, so if Bowser can just stay there, we'll be good to go. Because I want him to, I want him to win the race. So be rooting for Bowser. Well, unless he decides to spin stuff out. So the RNG that, the RNG that determines how well the CPUs do, you actually have 2 CPUs that are kind of set as your rivals. And the RNG that determines that is actually done in the course select screen. So when on the frame, basically there's this counter that keeps going and going, and once you hit it, it selects 2 CPUs to be your primary and secondary rivals. And these are the CPUs that kind of have the best rubber banding and will kind of drive the best. So I'm not entirely sure who my rivals are right now. It looks like Toad is one of them and maybe Peach. But I need to get... oh boy. I don't have high hopes for a heavyweight now. It's not a huge deal if I don't get a heavyweight in the top... if I don't have a heavyweight win, but it would just look a lot cooler and it would actually save me a little bit of time. Right. Yeah, it doesn't look like any of the heavyweights are going to catch up. Not a huge deal. Well, hopefully it's not going to be a huge deal. Because now I have to do the standard shortcut on Rainbow Road, and I'm really bad at it. So I will probably fail it. So Rainbow Road, I'm going to be going for the pretty famous shortcut here at the start, where I just kind of hop across the stage. It's really hard, 150cc though. That's not going to work, I don't think. No. Like I said, I'm really bad at that, so that's not a huge deal to me. And I'm not going to be able to get back up, so I'm just going to drive a lap. I do want to be in first by the end of this lap, though, so I do kind of have to not suck here. Fortunately, the CPUs are now really slow. And when I'm in 8th place, I can get better items. Yeah. If I had gotten the CPU RNG that I wanted, I would have just been able to jump off of a heavyweight at the start of Rainbow Road. Which would have looked really cool. Now that I'm in first place, I kind of want to get a green shell here. I'm going to beat DK there. I'm going to have one shot at this if I am able to get this. But the RNG kind of has to behave in my favor. I've got, I think, 3 more chances at it. Guys, okay, now 2 more chances. Guys, you can only get a green shell in 1st, 2nd, or 3rd place. After 3rd place, you can't get a green shell anymore. And if I don't get a green shell, I'm going to have to drive an extra lap. Alright, come on, game. It's really annoying when you keep missing item boxes. Alright, I have to get a green shell right here. Oh, dang it. That sucks. So now I get to attempt this again. That should work. No, I overshot it. Alright, I was kind of hoping I could beat my run from last SS4C, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. That's actually a pretty big disappointment. So I both undershot it and overshot that jump. I'm pretty sure I was ahead of my PB at one point too. Alright, there we go. Now I've got the green shell. You actually can get both triple and normal green shells in 1st place. So you actually have the highest probability of getting a green shell in 1st place. They're the highest probability item you can get. It's just that when you want an item really badly, the game won't give it to you. Because it's like that. So now I'm basically going to have 1 shot to show off this lap skip here. Assuming I don't fall too far behind. What I'm going to try to do here is use this green shell to kind of launch me over the edge, and then I can cross the finish line while falling, and it will kind of do what it did in Frappe Snowland and just move me forward by a lap. Alright, so this is my only shot at this. Okay, no. Alright, I'm just going to wait for the star to wear off and then I'm going to attempt that other jump again. Alright, that should work. There we go. Alright, so this is probably going to be like a 33. This is really, really bad. I don't think this is going to be faster than a no skips Rainbow Road either. Oh well. Time is going to be when I cross the finish line for the final time, so get ready for that. Also, yeah, this isn't going to be faster than a no-skip Rainbow Road. If I get a green shell here, I might just show off the lap skip just for the heck of it. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to bother with it. I'm too far ahead. Ready, and time. My timer says 33:14. Just for the record, I lost 3 minutes and 16 seconds to my gold on that split, and I was actually barely on sub 30 pace after that. I was only 12 seconds behind my PB after Banshee Boardwalk. Alright, so that's it for that game. It kind of sucked. That Rainbow Road kind of sucked. So, if you're interested in running the time trials for this game, I myself don't take time trials seriously, but there's a very, very active community who does. You should check out MarioKart64.com, because there's a very active community for the time trials. And, yeah, that's kind of it. So with that, I will throw it on over to the host.